Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode of the podcast. I am joined with an amazing guest, Miss Rimi. Rimi is an independent wealth planner based in Bangkok, Thailand. For 20 years, Rimi has helped individuals and families plan their retirement, tax, inheritance, education, and health protection goals. Since 2016, she has been an independent wealth planner where she uses her acquired skills and insights to custom tailor plans for all her clients. In her new role as an independent wealth planner, she has the freedom to choose the clientele base, which includes Thai and expat clients, business owners, and corporate employees. Prior to this, Rimi has worked with large entities. Her goal is educate and advise people on the importance of personal financial planning so that they can prepare for a stress-free retirement life. She believes that people have different financial needs at each life stage, which may be different for each person. Rimi has helped clients, individuals, and families from the age of 2 to 70 years old on their retirement, family protection, tax, health protection, and education plans. Rimi ensures that she can find a solution for all these people. As an award-winning 20-year veteran of the banking industry, clients can rest assured that she tailors uniquely robust financial plans to everyone. I am pleased to be joined with Rimi on today's episode of the podcast. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hi, Rimi. How are you today?
Thank you so much for inviting me to your wonderful podcast.
Thank you so much for your time, and let's get into it. All right.
Yes.
So, Rimi, can you please introduce yourself to the audience?
So as you can see on my backdrop, my name is Rimi. Officially, I'm called Suchitra, but people fondly call me Rimi. I have been in the industry, in the banking industry for 20 years, and also as an independent wealth planner for the last 9 years. So close to 3 decades, I've been in the wealth management industry. Uh, I guess that's it about me.
So, can you please tell the audience a little bit more about your profession? Like, what is a lifetime wealth planner? What does it mean to be an independent wealth planner?
The beauty of being independent, you're never going to leave your job, right? You are not employed by anyone, you're self-employed. That's why the tagline, Lifetime Wealth Partner, means that I'm with my clients in every step of their life, whether it's in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. So I think in short, people would say till death do us part.
So, I mentioned in the introduction as well, and we talked about what you do. So, you're a lifetime wealth planner, but you've also had so much experience and expertise. So, if I were to ask you, what is your surreal journey? Because everyone
Mhm.
has a journey, so how would you describe your surreal journey?
Well, first of all, I would never have thought that today I would be here on your podcast. I'm a far call for that. Um, a little bit more personally about myself to understand my journey. I was a very young child, a very shy and introvert child, brought up in a boarding school up in the Himalayas. So I was really isolated from the social environment. And I had a dream. And the dream was I wanted to travel the world. And at that time, the only profession I could think of was to be an air hostess. So that was my childhood fantasy that I'm going to be an air hostess. I'm going to travel the world. But life has its own turn. When I actually went and I wanted to apply, the minimum criteria I failed the height requirement by 2 centimeters, which meant I could no longer be an air hostess. That's not something that I could develop myself. So the first job apparently, or I think it was brought to me was in the banking industry. And since then, I never left the banking industry. Fast forward almost 30 years down the line. It's always been in wealth management, helping people, helping individuals, helping families with their personal financial planning. But what's so real about my journey, what I feel is that I am still fulfilling my fantasy and my dream as a child. That is traveling, and this time traveling with a purpose. Traveling to meet new people, create new connections, uh, learning, sharing, going for big conferences. So mixing business with pleasure, not having to ask for any leave. That's the beauty of my job. Taking as much break as I want to, and also enjoying what I do. So because I do what I do, it doesn't feel like work. It's a passion. So I never say I'm working, right? I'm just helping, I'm around, I meet people, and I enjoy what I do. So, and I travel at the same time too. Yeah, so that's my surreal. I could do both my childhood fantasy of traveling at the same time, deliver my professional passion is to empower people with financial knowledge and give them the confidence to make those key financial decisions.
So when you made the change to move from what you were doing back then to becoming an independent wealth planner, which you are today, what made you decide to make that change back then?
Short answer, my son. So during that time, my son was very young, and in the banking, people think that bank closes at 3:30 and our work ends, but actually our day starts after the bank closes, right? So it was really long hours. Maybe sometimes I was getting home at 8 or 9 p.m. and leaving home at 7 a.m. in the morning. I never had time for my kid. And that was the time we decided that, one of us has to quit the job. And so I raised my hand and said, I quit. And the next day, the resignation was on the table. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I just knew that at that moment, I needed to be a good mother. I needed to be around my kid, to spend time with him, to teach him, right? So that was a turning point. There was no inspiration to leave. I would think I would have been fearful to leave the banking after being there for 20 years because I had no entrepreneurial spirit or, but as they say, everything happens for a reason. And I think that was the key catalyst. Then after that, I just took a short sabbatical. I just wanted to travel again, be with my son. And at that point in time, I was deciding what I wanted to do next. Really, I did not want to sit home and do nothing. So I have a very close friend who I used to always give financial advice to. And she came up to me and she said, Rimi, you know what? I learned so much from you. Do you know that I'm the best in my company when it comes to doing financial planning? And I was like, really? She says, yeah. The most common people have no idea about financial planning. Why don't you do what you're doing, but just change your focus? Because in the banking days, I was also focusing a lot on the affluent families. And that was the time I said, okay, what is it that I can do similar to what I have been doing for the last 20 years? So that rang a bell. And that's the time I decided, okay, maybe I should just get my licenses. I had a few licenses ready, but I had to get some additional licenses. So I went out, got myself a few more licenses in insurance and life insurance, in investments, and that's how my journey kick-started in as being an independent. And it's been 8 years now, more than 8 years. And I've never looked back because along the journey, it's been wonderful. I've received industry accolades from global, regional, national. Um, yeah, so I've just been saying sheer hard work and luck has been by my side. And I'm here today with you.
That sounds amazing. And like, I want to touch upon the last point that you said with all the accolades and the awards that you have received,
Mhm.
which I touched a little bit about on in the introduction. But if you were
Mhm.
to talk about your success and what the key is to your success in particular in your field, in your
Mhm.
experience working in the banking industry, as well as, being an independent wealth planner, what would you say is the key to your success in your field and life? Can you please share?
Okay, so for me, my life, I follow the three P's, I would say. The three P's. Okay. And I feel that's been instrumental to where I am today. There's still a lot more to do. But number one in my profession and personally too, the first P is patience, right? You are in the sales, you're meeting clients, they'll be meeting client. There'll be a lot of cancellations because people don't want to do financial planning. So you have to be very patient for people to be willing and ready to talk to you. The second one is perseverance. It takes up a lot of resilience. How many rejections you have to go through, how many times people have to say no. Imagine how many people had to say no to me before I reached where I am today. So perseverance is very important. And number three, if I gave up, I would not be where I am today. So number three is persistence. You just focus, you know what you're doing is correct. Keep moving forward. Don't give up. It's just like when we were children. I think every parent can relate to that. You're teaching your child how to walk. They will fall many a times, but you keep giving them that encouragement. Stand up. You can do it. You can do it. And every time they fall, they walk forward with more passion, with more power until they can walk independently. They don't need your finger. And that's the same thing in my profession too, or in any profession, right? It's very important that you don't give up on the slightest of failure because every failure brings you closer to success, right? Today, if there were no failures, we wouldn't have Apple, right? We wouldn't be using Apple phones if the founder gave up, right? So persistence become very important. And I think these three P's have helped me together in everything I do. And one motto in my life, where there's a will, there's always a way. And you will always find a way. It's just the right moment. And you need patience for that. And that goes for my personal life too. And that's what a lot of clients also say about me that Rimi, you're very, very patient. Um, so I guess that's been instrumental in putting me where I am right now.
That's great, and it's good to see that you have the right mentality, you have the right principle, as I would say, which is the other P. And to persist, to have patience, to have, these three P's that you mentioned, it's really important, especially when there are challenges that arise in your profession, whether it was your previous profession or your current profession. But if we were to compare the two of them, what would you say are the key challenges of being an
hmm
independent wealth planner, and how is it different
hmm
from what you were doing before working for those large entities?
So I think we can more look at two sides, right? There's always two sides to every story. As a banker, I worked for very big multinational banks, as you know, like Citibank, Standard Chartered, HSBC. So when I walked into any client's office or when clients came to see me, my big brand name was there to support me. No one ever had to ask me like, which bank is just HSBC or Citibank. So I had a strong brand behind me. That was a good thing about the banking. I had all the systems, I had all the processes, I had the teams, I had the technology, I had everything, right? The only thing I didn't have was freedom. Freedom to do what I felt was right, 100%. Freedom to choose my clients. Freedom to choose the products that I felt was aligned with my client's need. Feeling, so the other part that I would say is being an independent wealth planner. I had to start from ground zero. And being from a corporate background, I knew that branding was very important. And that's where, when I entered being independent, my first thing is why would clients want to work with Rimi? Who is Rimi? And what does Rimi bring on the table? How can Rimi differentiate herself from banks, right? So for me, I had to bring out my uniqueness. And that was a time when I went to my clients, was my experience. That was my first and loudmost, going through a lot of financial volatility. And what I brought for them was the basis of financial planning, not selling them products, not having transactions with them, but rather looking at a holistic financial planning. For example, what are their dreams? What are their goals? What are their priorities? Be a very good listener, understanding what they need, and then coming down to the point where I can actually see what they have and what's missing, and how can I add value into their lives. So along the way, yes, I built my brand. It took some time, of course, like I was talking to you earlier, it takes time. The first few years is always difficult for any entrepreneur. You have to build on your entrepreneurial skill. And ironically, actually, I completed my master's in entrepreneurship management, but I was never an entrepreneur. And this was a great opportunity where I took the best of what I learned from the bank into my own best practice. And at the same time, added what I felt would add more quality to the work I deliver. And combined with that together, I think I'm just in the perfect uh, ambience, the environment right now.
Absolutely. I think that's great to hear as well. And to compare those two together, it seems like there's a lot of things that overlap in terms of knowledge, in terms of experience, in terms of your professionalism, which is something that we spoke about before we shot this episode of the podcast, but professionalism, how you come across, and I think with your experience, what you mentioned, your credibility, what you bring to the table is absolutely fantastic. And I think if we were to look at your experience as a whole, what you've gone through in the banking industry for a long time, and if we were to join it with what you do now for the past several years, how would you say you have grown as a person from when you initially started? Like, what do you think, and what would you say
Mhm.
is the most essential skill you've developed on the way in your work experience and your journey?
So in the banking field, and a lot of people who work in the bank will relate to me, our life is like a box, right? Morning, leave home, go to office, finish work, go back home. That's our life. We're just in a box. So if people tell us to go anything outside the box, we would be hesitant because we don't have that time. And that leaves you sort of introvert, antisocial, I would say. Um, because you don't want to meet new people, right? And one of the things that I had to overcome as a challenge when I came as an independent also was building that confidence to meet new people, learning the art of networking. So funny that you brought in today because I was talking to one of my peers this morning in the meeting, and they said, Rimi, we have a word for you. And I said, what is it? You are a relationship welding engineer. I was like, what? And it just struck me uh, that I've grown. Yes, professionally, I would never be able to connect people. I would have never thought that I would have built a community. I have a wonderful, beautiful community of female entrepreneurs that we uplift each other personally and professionally. We meet once a month, we do social events, people from different industries, and it all grew big during COVID time. So I would have never seen myself in that journey. And what they do has also been motivational in what I do, inspiring me to keep moving forward. So that's one thing that I think I've done a lot. I've improved a lot, and the confidence, and it's brought more passion into what I do because I love it even more. So in the banking, I had constraints, I had restrictions, I had rules, I had regulations that I needed to follow. But when I'm doing it on my own, it's my idea, it's my design, it's what I want to do the best for my client and bring it out for them. So for me, that's pure pleasure. It's the freedom that you get, right? So that's the freedom I have right now when I work with my clients. I can design their financial blueprint, their life. And it's so nice to see them peaceful when I get compliments from them. Hey, Rimi, I got my taxes back, I got some money back into the account. I can plan more. I'm so happy that you recommended me this and this has gone a long way. So when you receive these sort of compliments and recognition from your client, it's very heartwarming and it feels like you've done something right. And you're in the right place and you get even more motivated. And besides that, I think also the sense I'm a person who loves to learn, like Stephen Covey said, and I'm very honored that when I was in university, I had the opportunity to hear Stephen Covey. So I met him during my university days, and the last habit that I never forget from university till today was always sharpen your saw. What does that mean? You need to keep improving. You need to continue learning because that's the only way you can grow professionally and personally. So I've followed that guideline and principle. I can tell you that 30 years in the industry and every day I learn something new. And if you do that, there is no way that you cannot move forward. You will always move forward. You adapt to the new environment. You become very versatile, right? And you start moving in an environment where uh, everything is about passion, right? So you surround yourself with people who are passionate like you, and there's no looking back then. And that's what I would say is my journey being, coming and developing myself personally and professionally. So continue to learn.
Absolutely. What were the key things that you learned from that book? Like, is there any specific quotes or did it shape your motto? Did it help you change your perspective in any way?
Like I said, the last habit, there were some that I followed initially, and with age, we do forget things. But the thing that I never forgot is the art of always learning, the self-improvement part. And that's what I would advise everyone. Just keep learning something that's outside your industry too. I love learning from youngsters like you. There's so much that you have to share because when we were in university, it was another world, right? I think during my time, we didn't even have mobile phones. Come to think of it, yes. Right? We were always working on PCs, not even laptops. And today it's a new world. It's so fast. There's social media, visibility, and uh, that's where we need to learn, right? We need to adapt to the environment. Otherwise, we'll just die, become dormants, and have to retire from the world.
So, on the topic of learning and tying it into your profession about being a independent wealth planner, which we talked about and mentioned this term many times,
Mhm,
but part of it is you're giving back to people. And in the games, we went through the different age groups, but how do you get people to understand and learn, as you say, which is a key skill, the always learning and something that you've taken from the book? How do you get
mhm,
people to understand and learn the
mhm,
value of personal financial planning for a stress-free retirement? And what is your
mhm.
approach to creating personalized financial solutions?
Uh, I think the first thing about financial planning is people have to be ready first, right? Willing first. And that's the first thing I need to see. I will not talk with anyone who's closed or who has no desire or willingness to learn about financial planning, right? For me, okay, let me ask you this question. Financial planning is all about numbers. Is that a myth or a fact?
Myth.
Thank you. You have to be good in maths to be able to do financial planning. Myth or fact?
Myth.
Absolutely right. But that's the perception people have. So the first thing when I meet them is mindset. It's just mindset about financial planning and getting the fear out of their mind that it's not intimidating. Financial planning is not about numbers, but it's about all your dreams, all your goals, all your aspiration. And so when I first meet my client is just be a good listener. Just listen to their aspirations and their dreams and their goals and what do they want to do. And then take those dreams and goals that they have, put it into numbers. Very simple. So my first meeting with people is never about numbers. It's general. It's about them. It's about them. and they're sharing um, all their fears, all their concerns, all their issues, their mindset. Um, so what I try to do is make financial planning more fun for them. Make them think harder, let them dive deep, leave them with questions to think about, right? And so when they come up with, then once the fear is gone, the rest is easy peasy, right? I'll just have to tell them you have homework to do. Let's do it together. So, you play a very nice game with me on allocations of spending. That's what I do with them. Do you know what you spend on? Right? Do you know your income? Do you know how much you spend on? Where are the expenses going? How much savings do you have? So we just play a very fun game. And talking about games here and how I approach them, I actually tell them use the digital apps, right? There are apps like Money Lovers that actually help you to track your expenses. You don't have to do Excel spreadsheet any longer, and it becomes like a game. Financial planning can be fun too. And then after 2, 3 months, I come back and say, okay, let's take a look what you've done so far. And then we come and see where are the expenses, and it gives them a clear picture. Did they have to do any maths? No, there was no maths required there. And that opens a whole new world for them to understand the concept of financial planning and how they can move forward. And then it goes on with the process about what they have, what they need, what they have, and what's missing. So I'm just going to give a just an overview picture because if I dive deep down, you'll have to be here for at least another 6 hours.
And when we talked a little bit about the understanding of the value, but actually getting into it by keeping it brief. I don't think we have the time for 6 hours, but
Mhm.
how would you say, like, where do you start in terms of the brainstorming process, and how do you adapt your approach to meet the needs of the different age groups, whether it's clients, individuals, families, like how do you tailor it to meet each of the individual age groups?
So
Hmm.
I turn to them and say, can you do one for yourself? Do your own personal balance sheet and cash flow. And that's the starting point of financial planning. Because if you know and are aware of your own financial status, whether it's in the statements, we can take the direction forward. And that's where I start off with a personal financial health check. Very simple. It's just like when you go to the doctor, right? You have a cold. The doctor will ask you questions. When did you start having the cold? Were you in a group? Where did you contract it? Do you have any idea? Did you take any medications? So you're finding through questions, through Q&As, you go down, dig down deep and find the answers. And that's where we do a session that's purely numbers, but that comes after some time, not during the initial part of the discussion. And by the end of it, they prepare the balance sheet where I help them go through. So once they have a very clear picture of the numbers, then the rest of the things become very easy. The solutions come aligned with their cash flow. So it's a journey that we go together. It's not products, it's not selling products, but it's more analyzing what's their needs. And every age group comes with a different need. And even people within the same age group have different needs. So for example, some people marry early, right? So maybe in their 30s, they're already thinking about their kids, the family, but there are some that are free birds. It's only them. So that's where another thing is when I talk to these two people who are in their 30s, the conversation is very different because this is a family person and this is an independent person. And whatever we do, it's customized according to their lifestyle and their needs and their dreams. It's not my dreams, it's their dreams. My job is just to create a financial blueprint for them, help them execute it so that they can have a restful sleep.
So we talked a lot about who you are, your journey, your experience, and everything's been great. And I'm sure my audience is learning a lot from you and your teaching and all the advice that you have to share. But for you, how can people in my audience who's watching this learn more about you, and what is the best way for them to contact you?
Well, I have to say that we are in the AI world. So I'm sure if someone Googles me and says Rimi Wealth, there'll be a long list, including my website, which is another way they can reach me, which is www.rimiwealth.com. For people who are still a bit traditional, you can email me at rimi@rimiwealth.com, which is RIMI at rimiwealth.com. Right. If you go to my website, you can get connected to me on WhatsApp too. I have a special offer is I'm happy to offer a complimentary online 15 minutes call just to understand or help you in any way on your financial journey. Thank you.
Awesome. And to my audience, I hope you took note of that, and those are the best ways to contact Rumi. And I hope that my audience definitely stays in touch with you and takes up that call and wants to learn how they can plan their life and financially plan their their money and whatnot. But as we are coming close to the end of this interview section of the podcast, I would like to ask you one question which I ask all my guests, which is if you could voice one unique message to the world, what would it be?
Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is real wealth. Dream big, start small, but stay consistent because your financial empire is built in one purposeful step at a time. So, my advice for all of you who are listening today is save and invest 20% of your income every single month, and then let the magic of compound interest takes its turn. And you will see how well and how financially prepared you become to build, create, grow, and preserve your wealth. Thank you. Most people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. So start your planning right away.
Awesome. And that's a great way to end this interview section of the podcast. Thank you so much, Rimi, for your time.
Thank you. I hope something that people can take away at least one key takeaway from the session today and implement it in their life because I feel that we all have something unique about ourselves and something that we can all share um, and grow together.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And to my audience who has made it to this end of the interview section of the podcast, if you did enjoy this video, which I hope you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with your network and people around you. And with that, I'll see you all for the next episode. Goodbye.
Thank you.